So I'm going to talk about 12 bar blues, and this is major blues. And major blues, I guess people refer to it a lot as B.B. King style blues. It's still 12 bar blues, and the difference is instead of minor chords, these are mostly dominant 7 chords. So the dominant 7 chord is I'm playing an A. So a dominant 7 chord is major 3rd, 5th, and a flat 7, minor 7. So so that would be our 1 chord, A7. They call it, if you see a chord that says A7 or whatever, G7, it implies that it's a dominant 7 chord, which is a chord, it's a major triad with a minor 7th. And then you can have extensions, a 9th, 11th, or 13th chord, but generally if it just says A7, it's a dominant 7 chord. And then so our chords will be A7, the 4 chord is our D7, that's 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, D7, and then the 5 chord is E7. 4, 1. So generally with a 12 bar blues progression, the first bar is 1, 2 will be 4, 4 chord, D7, back to 1, 3, 4. Now on 5 we go to the 4 chord, 6, 7 is back to 1, 8, 9 we go to the 5 chord, E7, 10 is the 4 chord, 11 is 1 chord, then on the last half of the 12th bar is where you go to the 5 chord. And that's your 12 bar blues, major blues, all 7 chords, major 7, not major 7, but dominant 7 chords, 1, 4, 5. So it's 1, 4, 1, 1, 4, 4, 1, 1, 5, 4, 1, 5. And that's 12 bars. So there's a lot of discussion about the B.B. King blues box, and he had a great way of combining major pentatonic scale with the minor pentatonic scale, and it's really I don't think it's something that he did consciously. It's just he's the type of person that always played just from what he felt inside of him, and he came up with this interesting thing that people have been trying to mimic ever since he started doing it. And there's a million people that copy it really well, and it's if you analyze it, it's super cool. And he generally prefers, it seems like, to play, if I was in A, his root on the 2nd string, which is right here, if you were in A, is on the 10th fret of the 2nd string. So if you look at our A major pentatonic scale, starting on the 5th fret, 5th fret, 6th string, you got 1, natural 2 or major 2, major 3rd, no 4th, perfect 5th, major 6, root. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's why it's a pentatonic scale, 5 notes. Then it repeats 1, 2, 3, 5th, perfect 5th, major 6. And here we are in that 2nd string position on the 10th fret. So if we were to go from here, that's our major pentatonic scale in the same shape that we've been going up, but you also have you could play that note here. Same note, the major third. Here's our root, major third. There's your fifth, and the major sixth. So in the major pentatonic scale, there's no fourth, but that note gets used a lot in this system. And also, he throws in this note, which is borrowed from the minor pentatonic scale, which is the minor third, but he'll generally bend it either depending on which chord is playing at the time. So the thing that's cool here, we got our root here. If we bend this 2 note up a full step, then that's our major third of A, or even A7. So that pretty much implies A, the 1 chord. Well, what happened? My shirt changed and my guitar changed. Anyway, so when we're still in our 1 chord, A dominant 7, we also have, so here's our root. We have our major third up here on the 14th fret of the 2nd string. So we have this, you can bend the 12th fret, the 2 of our scale, up a full step to get to that major third. And then I'm using my pinky on that 12th fret, and that's the 5th of the chord. So when you bend this up a full step, you're creating this part of the chord, which is the major third and the 5th of A. So the cool thing is throwing this major 6th in here gives it sort of a happier sound. Instead of using the minor 7th, which is actually part of the chord. And you can definitely throw that in there too. It gives it a little more of a bluesy sound. But to stay in the happy mode, we're playing the major 6. So another way to get to this major third is to bend the minor third up a half step. Instead of the 2. So the 2 you have to bend up a full step to get to that major third, and the minor third you just bend it a half step. And you can throw in that minor 7 there, or the major 6. A little bit different sound, but they both work. And this 4th can be used also. And the 4th is borrowed from the minor pentatonic scale, and it sounds cool. And you also have the blue note. Oops. Sorry. And you can throw that blue note in there when it sounds cool. I mean, that's the rule. If it sounds cool, it's good. So I think sort of a cool way to mix these 2 scales, especially with the blues scale mixed in, is to do like a melodic vocal melody style part. And then you throw in like a little blues part, and then go back to your melody, your horn or vocal melody type thing. Chord, and we can change our scale a little bit. Now that we're in our 4 chord, we have to find our chord notes in our position that we're in. So we still have our A right here, which is the 5th of D. Here's our D, So this is our fifth below the root here. So the 4, it's our 4 chord, and here's our 4 note, fourth of the scale. So there's our D. We can do the same thing that we were doing on the 1 chord by bending the 2 of D up a full step to get to that major third on F sharp. So our notes in D dominant 7 are D, F sharp, A, and C, the minor 7th. So there's our minor 7th. So all these notes are safe notes. You can bend the 2 up. So you can bend this note, the C, that's the minor 7th. If you bend the C up to D, that's the root of the chord. But you can also, so that's a full step bend. You have this full step bend. And that can be up and down because that's a chord note. But you can also bend the 2 of our scale, the B, a half step up. And that goes to the 7th of D, the C. It goes, so we're bending B to C, the minor 7 of our 4 chord. And you can always throw in So those are cool things you can do with the 4 chord. You can always throw in little blues scale riffs in between the melodic melodies, and that is cool. It's a cool way to mix the 2 scales together. So that brings us to our 5 chord, E7. And so it's basically the same exact thing as our 4 chord, but everything is up 2 frets. So now we have our E, D is the minor 7th of E, B is the 5th, and G sharp we have right here, that's our major 3rd. So a lot of things you can do that you did on the 4 chord, you can do with the 5 chord, just moved up 2 frets. So here's our B, the 5th of E, and I'm bending a whole step up. I'm bending this note on the 14th fret, which is a full step up from the 5th. It's our 6th of E, a half step up to the minor 7. And there we are back on our A chord. So this would be the 5 chord, 4 chord, then a full step bend from the 2 to the major 3rd of A. And a lot of times during the 5 chord, you can just play plain blues scale.